Is there any effort on the part of your team to secure this money through another country, Saudi Arabia or Russia, as Joy Behar seems to think?
Well, there's rules and regulations that are public. I can't speak about strategy.
Alina Habba, Trump's on-again, off-again lawyer, refused to deny that in a desperate moment, Trump wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia or to Russia for the money he needs to secure the bond in the civil fraud trial, with a deadline, at least for now, of Monday. Here is Alina Habba. What role does she now have with Trump? She used to be his lawyer. Is she a legal spokesperson? Is she legally representing him anywhere? Is she merely a TV lawyer at this point? God, I don't know. But here is Martha McCallum on Fox News saying, is Trump looking at Saudi Arabia or Russia to get the money he needs? And Alina Habba, rather than saying no, she says, well, I can't speak to strategy right now.
Is there any effort on the part of your team to secure this money through another country, Saudi Arabia or Russia, as Joy Behar seems to think?
Well, there's rules and regulations that are public. I can't speak about strategy that require certain things, and we have to follow those rules. Like I said, this is manifest injustice. It is impossible. It's an impossibility. I believe they knew that. I think that's why mid-trial, frankly, they changed their ask from $250 million to the ridiculous amount of money that they've asked for. I think everything is done intentionally. I do not doubt that the witch hunt, that the election interference goal is what was
if you're waiting for a no, you're not going to find it in this answer.
Ringing steady and loudly and true throughout all these trials, frankly. And we're seeing it. It's the demise of our country, not the demise of Trump. So we'll handle it as we always have and keep our heads up and keep working hard.
There you go. Trump potentially going to the Saudis or the Russians for money to pay the bond after defrauding the state of New York endlessly. That doesn't say anything about Trump, according to Habba. That says more about the demise of the country. Now, the answer that in a normal world we would hear is, of course, Trump is not going to Saudi Arabia or Russia to get the money he needs to make this bond and to keep the appeal going. But we didn't hear that. We heard something very, very different. Here's one more clip in which Alina Habba seems to think or see Trump as some kind of gift, God's gift to architecture and the New York skyline, acting like he is some kind of genius for what he did to the New York skyline.
Tell me a little bit about where you are in this process, because in terms of the appeals happening or the appeals court deciding, the appellate division deciding that perhaps they're going to make some modifications to this judgment.
Right. Well, our argument in front of the appellate division is that forcing him to sell prized properties such as Trump Tower, iconic properties like 40 Wall Street, to pursue his appeal is manifest injustice, and it deprives him of that due process that we are all entitled to. So imagine you can't reverse selling off Trump Tower on a fire sale at a discounted price. We can't fix that if we win on an appeal. So it's complete injustice. And only a handful of sureties, as we stated, are approved by the United States Department of Treasury to even underwrite bonds of this size. So of those, even those very limited handful amounts, they're limited to policies with even single bonds up to maybe 100 million. None of them accept hard assets. They require cash or cash equivalents, such as...
And why do you think that's the case, Alina?
...marketable securities. The ask of Judge Engoron is completely ridiculous. He knew that. Or if he didn't know that, then he should have educated himself on it. But it is intentionally to interfere in the election, to hurt President Trump, to try and ruin his company and ruin a person and a family whose private company, not public company, has made the skyline of New York changed forever and made so many jobs, created jobs.
There you go. It's just iconic what Trump was able to do to the New York skyline. By the way, some of the buildings she's talking about, like 40 Wall Street, Trump didn't build those buildings, right? Trump is the landlord at this point, but he didn't build those buildings. Listen, this is very quickly going to get very ugly. And of course, it's all woe is me. It's all so unfair. Trump's perfect. He's been treated so unfairly. But the bottom line here is that he simply doesn't have the cash. All of this stuff about there aren't that many companies that are authorized to provide bonds of this size. If Trump simply had the money, if he's really worth $6 billion and all of the stuff he claims, if he really had the money, if he wasn't already over leveraged on his properties to begin with, he wouldn't need to go and seek a bond in this way. He would simply have the money. He doesn't. And that's what's at the core here. We've already seen so many data breaches in the news just this year: Roku, GitHub, Fujitsu, Nissan, many others. Cyber criminals have more tools at their fingertips than ever before. And one of the easiest, cheapest ways you can secure yourself and your family is using a VPN, an app that hides your IP address. If these companies get hacked, but you use a VPN, then your IP address will just be one less thing that the criminals know about you, which makes it harder for them to hack or to steal your identity. Our sponsor, Private Internet Access, is the only VPN I use. They don't log any of your online activity, which you can verify a number of ways, including the fact that the software is open source, super fast for streaming. You can use Private Internet Access on all of your devices with just a single account. Don't let the big corporations, the hackers, governments see your IP address and everything you do online. Get Private Internet Access for 83% off, which comes out to just $203 a month plus 4 extra months for free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.